All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story, it was just announced today that there will be a new deadlift world record attempt event on October 18th of 2020. So World's Ultimate Strongman, who is the same organization that put on the Hafthor Bjornsson world record attempt, on October 18th, they will be holding another event for people trying to break Hafthor's record. Now, competing in this event will be J.F. Caron, Mikhail Shivlikov, Ivan Makarov, and Rauno Heinla. Now, Rauno has the unofficial deadlift for reps record, but Ivan is the guy that I think has came the closest out of all these guys to breaking the record. Just a couple weeks ago, he deadlifted 490 kilograms in training, which is just 11 kilograms shy of Hafthor's record, 12 kilograms shy of breaking it. I believe that's 1,080 pounds. So Ivan is close, and I think realistically there is a possibility of this deadlift world record being broken here in a month now. We're about a month away from that, a month and a week, a month and 2 weeks. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Now that this event has officially been announced, do you guys think the deadlift world record set by Hafthor Bjornsson back in, I think it was May, do you think it's going to fall already here in October? Do you think someone's going to break that record already? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you do think it's going to be broken, who do you think is going to be the man to break it? Definitely interesting things happening in the world of powerlifting. Now, next up in the news, Brandon Curry with another training update going heavy on legs, which obviously is the main criticism of Brandon Curry and has been for a long time. And again, I like to see that Brandon pretty much every single day now is posting a training update, a physique update. Like I said, Brandon is the king of this. Every year leading up to the Olympia for the past few years, Brandon has been the guy that was able to generate a ton of hype based on the pictures and videos and progress stuff that he was leaking going into each Olympia. And it looks like he's doing the same thing this year. And I would like to see Phil do the same thing. Something you never really see from Phil is a real physique update. Anything really revealing going into the Olympia. Traditionally, Phil is one of the guys that hides away the most in the offseason. You're definitely not going to see Phil, or you definitely haven't seen Phil, post a training video every single day like Brandon is doing going into the Olympia. And that's what I like about Brandon. I think Brandon knows really well. He just does a really good job of being a Mr. Olympia. He's a good ambassador. He's a great speaker. He seems like a good guy. He's very engaging with the fans. He posts a lot. He posts, pretty much every step of his journey, his training, physique updates. He doesn't really hide much. And really, my hat goes off to Brandon. I'm certainly rooting for him at this year's Mr. Olympia. And I am definitely not one that has counted Brandon out. Now, next up in the news, this coming weekend, you've got the Cali Pro. And now we have the official competitor list right now for the men's open bodybuilding portion of the California Championships this weekend, September 12th. And honestly, this show is wide open. And again, I think Nick Walker should jump in this lineup, but I'll get to that later. So you've got Suleiman Alterkit, Maurice Burgess, Eddie Bracamontes, Dobromir Delev, Stan DeLongnu, a.k.a. Stanimal. He is switching over from classic physique, trying to make the full transition to men's open bodybuilding. Ronald Gordon, Errol Moore, Patrick Moore, An Nguyen, Jasu Placencia, Joe Seaman, Antoine Vaillant. So you've got 12 competitors in this lineup, and honestly, not a whole lot of big names here. The biggest names, obviously, are Antoine, Patrick, and I guess you could argue Stan. So I think, dude, I really think that Nick has every incentive to compete in this lineup. I saw that his coach, Matt Jansen, put up this post about Nick with some shots of Nick from the North Americans this weekend. If you guys don't know, Nick did just win his pro card, so he is now an IFBB pro, and he is now eligible to compete in whatever pro shows he wants, or at least pro shows that you don't have to qualify for. And Matt says, it's very rare that I'm happy with every single stage shot. I'm extremely critical of myself when it comes to peaking, and I continue to see flaws in my approach that need to be adjusted. That being said, I'm so proud of these shots at Nick Walker. The goal for Chicago, so they announced that he will be doing the Chicago Pro in 6 weeks. That is their intended pro debut. Will be to come in even more complete and conditioned. I want him fuller from the front, which is on me. I also want him transitioning into really learning how to present his physique as a pro over the next 6 weeks. His mandatory shots are good, but it's what's being done in between poses that I want to keep a focus on. I think he's referencing Nick's breathing there in between poses, kind of similar to Phil Heath. In the transition shots, that's where the midsection tends to go a little bit. I noticed that with Nick's physique in the transition, so I'm sure that's what Matt is talking about here. He says, we've been asked so many times, why not Cali? So this is my question too, because obviously Nick just competed. He could hold on to his conditioning for one more week and go straight into the Cali Pro and just see how he does, especially after reading that lineup that I just read you. That lineup is probably half as impressive as the New York Pro, and the New York Pro wasn't really that impressive of a lineup. No offense to any of the guys that were there, but it wasn't exactly a Olympia or Arnold Classic caliber lineup. So I think Nick would have a good chance in the Cali Pro lineup of placing, and this is what I wanted to get to. I get that Matt wants Nick to have a good pro debut. They want to make some improvements before he makes his pro debut. But what's the goal going to be with Nick competing this year? Really, the goal should be, or the only goal really should be, to get to the Olympia stage. And if he waits till Chicago to compete, Nick's a great bodybuilder, but if Rami's in that lineup, you're probably going to have some other big names in that lineup. I don't see Nick beating those guys to win the Chicago Pro and get to the Olympia. But if he competes in Cali, he's got a really good chance of placing in that show and earning some serious points in Cali. And then also going to Chicago, if he places there, he might put himself in a position to qualify on points, or he might even win Cali and get the qualification. I think that's actually very realistic. But Matt goes on to say the answer to why not Cali is this was such a monumental goal for Nick. I don't want it to be passed by without really being in the moment. Had we done Cali, it would allow no time to really take this all in. Secondly, it's very important to Nick and I that we show progress every single time in some aspect, and 6 weeks allows for us to improve on what I addressed here. So I get that. It makes total sense, but after seeing this lineup in California, I think Nick would do some serious damage there and earn some serious points towards the Olympia. So now next up in the news, also related to the Cali Pro, Stanimal. Stan DeLongnu, or DeLongnu, however you pronounce it. Stan recently posted a posing picture as he is preparing for his men's open competition at the Cali Pro, trying to move up and put on some size from his classic physique days. Posing in this picture next to Shawn Rhoden. Now, I don't know if it's the angle or the lighting or what, but he looks significantly bigger than Shawn. It's probably just because he's closer to the camera and the angle of the camera, and the fact that Shawn, of course, is wearing a long-sleeve shirt. But Stan looks pretty impressive here. He looks to be in very good shape. And based on the names, like I read earlier, I think that Stan is going to be a favorite in this lineup for the top 5. So shout out to Stanimal. Now, next up in the news, Iain Valliere getting quite a bit of backlash for his New York Pro win, posting up on Instagram a lengthy post kind of in response to all the negative comments that he's seen on his post after winning the New York Pro. And I have seen the same thing. Pretty much every video that I've done about the New York Pro, the comment section has been full of people saying they don't think that Iain deserved to win. Now, here's what Iain had to say, or at least some of it. He said, "It's tough to wake up after a win that should be the highlight of my bodybuilding career to so much negativity in the comment section about the show. It's easy for people to say, who cares what they say, or you're above that, don't listen to these keyboard warriors. But when you work for over a decade and finally achieve a win as prestigious as the New York Pro, you really hope to be able to revel in it. It seems like no matter what I do, I'm doing something wrong in the eyes of the social media world. According to it, in 2018, I was being overlooked. And now that I'm improved and placing higher, I don't deserve it. At the end of the day, I have full faith in the judges in the IFBB Pro League who were there 10 feet away. Do this professionally and are much better versed in the criteria they are looking for than those on Instagram. I take their critiques and try to apply them to each and every show. I know everyone is entitled to their opinions, and I respect that wholeheartedly, but I can't lie and say that reading the comments doesn't hurt. Either way, I'm extremely proud and thankful for what I accomplished last night, and I can't wait to take these most recent feedback and apply them for the Olympia. And here are some shots that show that crappy IG pics don't always show the whole story." And I don't know, man. I'm still kind of torn on this. Initially, I didn't really have a problem with Iain winning. I could understand the argument for having Iain in first. I mean, he was the biggest bodybuilder. He was in decent shape. And for that reason, I think they gave him the win. Now, after reading a lot of the comments on the past couple of videos about the New York Pro, I can certainly see the other side of the coin, the people that weren't happy with Iain winning. You guys did make some very good points. And really the only placing I had a real issue with was Max in 5th. And even then, I'm not saying that I think Max should have won. I just think he should have moved up a couple places based on his conditioning. At the end of the day, I definitely wouldn't have had Max beating Iain. Let's be honest, Iain's legs are miles ahead of Max's, even if Max's conditioning was ahead of Iain's. But after reading a lot of your guys' comments, I do have to agree on some of the things you guys said. You guys did make some good points. The no calves thing, I saw that comment a lot. It's become kind of a meme. I did notice that watching the live stream, but keep in mind Dexter Jackson won the Olympia back in 2008, and Dexter never had really the greatest calves. I don't want to say he had no calves, but calves really historically haven't been that important in bodybuilding for whatever reason. The second thing I saw a lot of you guys say was no chest. Now, no chest is a little bit of a stretch. I think his chest is a weak point for sure, but he still has a chest. And then some of you guys said weak triceps. Those were the big three that I was seeing was the calves, the chest, triceps, and of course conditioning. That was the main criticism that I saw. I don't know if Iain was seeing something different. I agree with some of those. I'm still not really that mad at Iain winning. I'll be the first to agree with you guys, though. I don't think that Iain was in the greatest shape. I certainly don't think his conditioning was 100%. I don't think he was that much better than Tampa. I think he was a little improved and had better color. But at the end of the day, I'm just not that mad about him winning. I mean, and here's why. No one was really in great shape at this show. No offense to anybody there, but no one was in that great of conditioning. So who would you guys have had beating Iain? Max was in the best shape out of anybody, but from a structure standpoint and a completeness standpoint, I think Iain still would have beat Max, even if it was Iain and Max in the top call out. But I do hear you. I do see your guys' comments. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about the New York Pro. Do you think Iain deserved to win? Why or why not? Give me your honest opinion in the comment section below and your honest opinion on Iain's thoughts about the criticism. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, Nick Strength and Power, signing out.